I think when I've been for a treatment, sometimes they say, so do you want to book in again? And I think there has to be more to it than do you want to book in again?
The Massage and Physical Therapists podcast is brought to you by Massage Warehouse.
Hi, sorry to interrupt, but just a quick cheesy message just to say, if you're really enjoying this episode, you're enjoying this podcast, please do like, subscribe and share. Subscribing to these podcasts really helps us as the Massage and Physical Therapist talk show book an amazing plethora of guests. If you subscribe, it means that we can plan ahead. We know who's listening. It means that we can attract the best guests and we can make the podcast the best it can possibly be. So thank you for enjoying and keep coming back and listening, and please do keep subscribing, keep sharing, and let's build this amazing community together. Enjoy the rest of the show. So we're back for the Massage and Physical Therapist Talk Show, episode 21. These are flying by now, and we're in double digits. We'll be at episode 100 before we know it. It's the never-ending season that's just continuing and continuing, just because we've got so many amazing guests constantly appearing, which is fantastic. And today's guest is very interesting guest, and I've been snooping all over your website and your Instagram. And amazed at all the stuff you put up and how you find the time to put all the stuff up, to be honest, as well. I was looking at it thinking, oh God, I need to up my game here. So today I'm joined by Georgia Morley. Georgia, how's it going?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. It's April now, the sun's shining, it's warm.
Coming through the window, I love getting a tan.
I love it. The grass has been growing. It's I've had to get the lawnmower out now. So the jobs just start tickling in, don't they? But Georgia, tell us a bit about you then. So obviously who you are, what you do, where are you based, first and foremost?
Yeah, so I'm Georgia. I'm 20. No, I'm not 28 anymore. Why do I think I'm 28? I wish.
I still think I'm 28 as well, to be honest. That must be the life of a therapist.
I think so.
we age slower.
It's wild. I literally turned 32 last week, so this should be fresh in my brain. Anyway, 32, and I live in Clapham, and I work as a remedial massage therapist, also teaching private yoga classes on the side, and I am trained in mindfulness and compassion in the workplace. So I founded Equilibrium. It will be 6 years this May, actually, which is crazy, and a load of pandemic thrown into that. So the time has definitely sped fast. So yeah, I was working for a clinic. It must have been about just over 6 years ago. I worked there for about a year and a half. Sadly, my journey in the industry, I came into it in a weird way. Long story short, was living in Australia. I had been a personal assistant for about 3 years before that, decided, no, I want to go to Australia, I want to explore. And 3 months into being there, I got glandular fever. So I had to come home, and it just really threw a massive curveball. So I took a lot of time off work, and I was receiving regular acupuncture, acupressure, massage 2-3 times a week. And that was the only thing that actually helped build my immune system back up. And I've always been very interested in holistic therapy. I trained as a yoga teacher in Bali the year prior to that. So the idea kind of came to me that, okay, perhaps I need to slow down on lifestyle. Perhaps, PA corporate isn't the best for my mental health, let alone physical health. So when it came back to going back to Australia, I'd lost all my days on my visa. So I wanted to get my second year, and I went in to study remedial massage. And that was back in 2017, 2018. So yeah, came home, got my first job as a massage therapist for a year and a half. And after glandular fever, I then developed chronic fatigue syndrome. So it got to the point where I just couldn't manage the days that the clinic wanted me to, that they would benefit from as well. So I took a bit of time and thought, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to really specialize in the areas that I love and that I want to share with other people, and select my days, etc. So yeah, that's when I founded Equilibrium, and yeah, it's been going for almost 6 years, which is amazing, and I'm super proud of it.
That's brilliant. I mean, it's interesting you say this because the last episode that we did was talking about how to sustain a career in this sort of field. And you're talking about fatigue and working in a clinic where they need you there for 8 hours a day, probably. And a lot of it's probably back to back stuff as well, one in, one out kind of vibe. And it's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really hard. And I think it was it was kind of my heart and my mind were in a bit of an argument because I desperately wanted to learn so much. And this was my first role as a massage therapist. And so I was optimistic, I was exercising, I was resting, I was eating right. And my body was basically saying no. And I thought I could ignore this and keep pushing, but if this is the career I want, I really have to take better care of myself. And so I had to go down to 3 days a week instead of 4. And at that point, I was doing 4 days a week, 5 clients in a session, driving back to Surrey where I was living at my mum's. And I just couldn't manage it. And I thought, it's not just I'm suffering. I don't then want my clients to suffer because I'm not giving the best treatments that I know I'm capable of. So
Yeah.
it was a really hard decision, but I went down to 3. And the where I worked, they were a bit concerned about me doing that because then that limits my availability for clients, which I totally understand. But what then happened is when I did leave, I stayed at 3 for equilibrium, and it just meant I knew that's what I could manage, and I just had to go with that. And pushing myself was just going to do myself a complete disservice and go against the industry, really.
The Massage and Physical Therapists podcast is brought to you by Massage Warehouse. Massage Warehouse was founded by therapists for therapists over 20 years ago. We put people before profit and only sell quality massage supplies we would use ourselves. I'm not going to try selling you anything here, but I would like to tell you we are the only retailer who gives back to the therapist community. We host a private community group of over 4,700 therapists where they have great discussions every day. We sponsor massage events around the country, publish a weekly newsletter with up-to-date industry news, and of course, we host and produce this fantastic podcast, along with our amazing host, Chris, and his co-hosts, Claire, Kate, Anna Maria, Amy, and renowned guests. Because we face increased competition from soulless overseas Amazon sellers who are actually based mostly in China, and other online retailers who aren't actually specialised in massage and only sell items that they can make profit with, I'd like to ask a favour of you. If you ever do need a new massage table or some oils or any other supplies in the future, please keep us in mind, knowing that some of your purchase goes back into helping the community. Or if you have therapist friends and colleagues, please spread the word about how we operate. Referring us to others really helps. Supporting us helps support the community back with initiatives such as this podcast, and we're always the lowest price too. Your support and custom has always been and will continue to be greatly appreciated. Now, back to the show.
When you first start out, I do understand that kind of thing of you're young and you're hungry and you want to take on as much work as you can because you want to learn as you go as well, which you do.
Yeah.
But where does it end? It's so easy to fall into that trap and then not be able to then get out of it.
Sure.
I mean, for myself, I work on a canal boat, which most people listening have probably heard of. Me talk about. But I'm only on there one full day a week because I'm here, there, and everywhere doing other stuff as well on the other days. And I used to have it open for longer periods of time, But people were then booking random slots, and then I had dead hours here and there and stuff, and it just didn't work. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do one full day, and it's just that works for me, and it
Yes.
means I'm there. And then, unfortunately, it might not work for some, but I found a lot of my clients then they make themselves available for that day because they know that's the day I'm there, and
That's it.
it's me they want to see, and that people they build a bond with their therapist, don't they? And then if it means they've got to book a day off work, because they've got holidays to use up, and then they'll come on that day, then that's great. Or they just make it work, really.
That's it. And I think it's really easy. I mean, myself, I'm definitely a bit of I want to please everyone. That's just in my nature. And you can try, but you just can't because you open up all these slots and then people don't take them. And you're just kind of holding back, waiting, because someone might book in. And then it's, whereas having that concentrated time, as you say, it's about, I suppose, educating and encouraging clients to really look at where they can prioritize their health, their wellness. And then on reflection, back to what we were saying, if I'm not doing that and it's clear that I'm not doing that, then I'm not going to be a good advert for, you know, my clients, because I'm not doing as I say they should be doing, you know.
And I guess, and you said you used to do PA work in like a corporate sort of background, and you get a lot of people that come into this line of work from a corporate background and they realise that the sort of long hours, the stress involved, it's too much, and then they retrain and do what we do now.
For sure. And I think, I mean, so I never went to university. I did my A levels, and then I went to a business and secretarial school in London for a year, and then I went straight into work when I was 19. So I guess I kind of did things in a very different order to a lot of my friends. I mean, I moved out when I was 19 to Clapham, actually, and I was working full time, whereas my friends were at uni having fun, coming in at 6 a.m. and I was going off to work at 6 a.m. You know, so there was this like difference in our lifestyles. And as much as I loved it, and that was right for me at the time, it became clear that I needed something that was going to be way more fulfilling for me. And I guess that's where through another illness, I had the flu one night, and I kind of woke up and thought, I must have been watching Eat, Pray, Love or something. I thought, I'm going to go to Bali and do a yoga training course. And then I did. And then I went into work and I said, can I take unpaid leave? They said no. I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to resign then. I need to go and do this for myself. And I think that triggered it. But it's just such a shame that sometimes these things do get spurred on by a struggle. And I know that is often the way, but when I share how I got into the industry, because a lot of clients are very intrigued by it, it's, as much as it was so hard and there was a lot of pain and frustration being sick for so long, had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be doing what I am doing today. There's no way, I don't think. So there is a blessing in there for sure.
Well, this is the thing with life throws things at you, doesn't it? And then we kind of find our path, if you like, just from you know, things like that, you know. And that's, you know, you've got to kind of, at the time, you're probably not thinking that way, but
exactly.
Once you passed it, you look back and think, God, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be doing this now.
Yeah. And I've got quite a few clients who weirdly I met all in the same month. They both have chronic fatigue syndrome. So we have that, and we have shared experiences, and we all have to take the same medication. And it's just this thing where you never know what to expect from your day at work, I guess, unless you know the clients, you know, you're familiar with them. But when you meet new people, you just don't know what bond you're going to have, or what they're going to come to you needing, and, you know, how they're going to appreciate you, or you're going to make a difference to their day, their week, their lives, really. And I just, from that, take a step back when I'm feeling exhausted, or, you know, I'm questioning maybe certain things that I'm doing, and I'm like, no, this is absolutely where I should be, for sure. So
I guess as well, I think, you know, when you've come from a corporate background and you've got all them skills, it helps so much with this line of work.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, organization, more than anything, booking systems, communications, following up, you know, taxes, self-assessment forms, terrifying, but like I kind of know where to go with that now. Whereas had I not been in that, it would have been completely overwhelming probably for me at first.
I think having skills in all of that is just as important as the actual hands-on work itself. And obviously you get a lot of people that come in that do this from this kind of work from the off, and train, go to college to do beauty therapy, this, that, and the other, and don't get the skills to do the, you know, the, what some might see as the boring side of things. But I quite like all that side of stuff, because especially if it's your baby, your gig, your business, there's nothing more buzzing than sitting down with a coffee and crunching some numbers and following everything up, getting everything tidy and neat. And I mean, maybe I'm just weird and I buzz off that sort of stuff.
No, I love it. As you said, because it's yours, you know, you've got that ownership, you know, you're the only one that's responsible for it. If you don't do it, no one else is going to do it. And I mean, even getting all my my expenses spreadsheet and my totals and everything. And when I like sat back and sent it to my accounting, because obviously I can't do it myself, I'm like, oh, that's a good day's work. That's just as good as a full day, like working hands on.
I often say, give me an admin day any day, and I can just sit in my dressing gown with a cup of coffee and just
Some snacks.
reorganize my life. Yeah, and some crisps in a little bowl and some nuts on the side. Do you know what I mean? And
Perfect. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a different type of productivity, isn't it, really? And it's nice when because it is tiring. It is a tiring job. So when you have an admin day and it might be between, two busy days or whatever, it's kind of like your rest day in a way, but it's equally you feel like you've ticked a lot off the list. So
yeah, it's great. Well, this brings me nicely on to today's conversation. And it's all about repeat clients coming back.
yeah.
So how do we get clients to rebook? So we're saying there, in that sense, you've got kind of pregnant clients come in, and then they're coming for that, and then they're coming back, as soon as the babies are born. But as a broader term, getting clients to rebook has to be one of the magic keys of this line of work, because if you can get yourself 20 regular clients that come back every 3 or 4 weeks,
Yeah.
you've got yourself there a solid business, as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely.
Then you can get your stragglers that jump on here and there, and you're always going to get someone that just comes for one session and you never see them again.
Yeah.
And then you're constantly racking your brains thinking, that was a really good session.
Yeah. What have I done?
We got on really well.
Yeah.
And I've never seen them ever again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that all the time. And I think for me, because I'm on a narrowboat, it's a novelty as well. So
Yeah.
I've got regular clients, and obviously I'll in talk in a bit more detail shortly of how I managed to keep them regular and booking. But I get a lot that book because they want to come for the experience of coming on a narrowboat.
Right.
They
Okay.
might not be necessarily from that area. They might be coming and staying in Manchester for a weekend or for a week, visiting family, or it's a nice place for people to just come, and it's in the countryside. It's in Cheshire part of Manchester. So, is Cheshire in Manchester? Yeah, Greater Manchester. So,
Me and geography don't go on.
I'm sure there'll be some people going, that's Cheshire, not Manchester.
I can't Google it either.
But they come for that experience, and then unfortunately they don't live near there, so they're not coming. They're not. Again, I guess you get that in a lot of like spa type places. But if we can get, I mean, everyone depends how many days you work, and you can work it out. I remember when I first started, I sat and worked out, right, if I could get 20 regular clients
Yeah.
that rebooked and came let's say every 4 weeks,
Yeah.
then that would fill pretty much, my day a week. With 5 clients a day or whatever. I'm not doing the maths properly in my head right now, but I'm pretty certain it's something like that off the top of my head when I sat and worked it out. And then that was like, right, well, there's pretty much 5 clients for that fills that day.
Yeah.
So then, if you can get yourself 40 regular clients, you know what I mean? It kind of, that's the key, isn't it? Is getting them regular, trusty clients, the ones that you can always rely on. And
Yeah.
they come back every month. Give it, obviously they might go on holiday or
Sure. Yeah. There'll
might
be
be
at some
they
point.
might be skint one month or.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What's the key? Have you got any top tips for me, please?
Tips. I guess it starts for me with the consultation form. So I actually have a question of how often do you want to receive treatment? So even before the treatment, I've got an idea of how open is this person? Is it something they're visiting? I can see their address isn't in London. It's a once off. Cool. So I guess that's the kind of first stage for me to kind of have a look at. And then it's getting an idea of actually what they're looking for. So are they wanting just some relaxation? Like I said, are they visiting London or whatever, or are they coming because they've got an issue? And then I suppose it's about the way that I conduct the treatment and the education that I give them. What I find hard is that at the end of the day, I run a business. So naturally, I do encourage repeat treatments. I mean, I myself have a treatment every month, and I do practice what I preach in every way that I can. So but it's never a forcing. So I want it to feel natural, but I also want to try and create a treatment plan, I suppose, well, definitely for a lot of clients who have a particular issue. So it's getting an understanding of what they are wanting to achieve from the session. And that might be quite open. A lot of them come to me and say, I know you can't fix this in one session. So they've already got that knowledge that it's not just like a once off. And I suppose when there is that language and they're open, then it's about offering your education, but not at a forceful level. So I think meeting them on the human level of, I understand that, it's we all have some money restraints sometimes, time commitments, etc. But one thing I always say is we commit to the gym once a month for the membership. We do pay our phone bills like that. But precisely for the gym, what are we doing on the other side to, I guess, cool down and to nourish our bodies and restore? And, how are we taking care of ourselves on the other side of exercise? And that's something that I feel very passionate about. But it's sometimes people can be very understanding and very kind of open to that. But sometimes it's some people might just switch off to it because it does feel like a treat. And I guess that's a whole other topic, because a lot of people do see massage as a luxury, and I think there's absolutely room for that. But what I try and encourage clients is based off what they need, what it would look like in a couple of sessions time, then recommending monthly maintenance, but saying that's up to you. There's no pressure there. So I guess it's not an easy answer, really.
Do you do all that verbally, or is this something you'd follow up with, or is it something that?
So I do a lot of it verbally, but I do follow up emails that evening or the morning after. I always want to check in. I always do aftercare advice as well, depending on what they need. That is something that I really prioritize in the business. And that's something that I suppose what makes Equilibrium unique is that it really is very individual to the client. Although it might seem a bit generalized at the moment, it really depends what the client's coming for, but there's always a check-in afterwards. I think that's really important because I want to know how they feel, genuinely, how their body has responded. I think it's a duty of care to check that as well. But there will always be some form of exercises, stretching, I don't know, foam rolling or anything like that I will create for them in particular. And that's where I can then get feedback from them on how they feel and I guess go from there, really. And if I don't hear back, that's okay. I might check in a month later, see how they're doing. But yeah, I think it's important for the client to experience the treatment and then be able to use the evidence of how they feel after the treatment the next day. And then that's where you can bring in that conversation, I think.
Of trying to, suggest about them booking in again.
Yeah.
It's that fine line, isn't it, of trying to, because the line of work we're in, it's not pushy salesman type sort of work, is it? And that's the kind of always been my worry is I never want to put someone under pressure to feel they've got to book in.
No, I agree.
I've been for plenty of sessions myself, and the therapist at the end has sort of said, right, would you like, and they've got the diary out there and then.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I've then booked it.
Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? It's like, I think when I've been for a treatment, sometimes they say, so do you want to book in again? And I think there has to be more to it than, do you want to book in again? There's, okay, what am I going to gain from it? What am I going to, and I think when it comes to pain or injury, that's very, very specific. So a treatment plan can be created. But I also think it's managing expectations for clients. Like, this isn't a quick fix. You will feel relief, but I actually always use this phrase, and it's like a course of antibiotics. You don't take 2 tablets and say, oh, I feel better now, throw them in the bin. You want to see it through the whole process. And I think maintenance is wildly underrated. I think a lot of people will come every month and then they'll miss 2-3 months. And I'm thinking, I'm going to check in on these people. And they'll say, oh, no, I'm doing really well. the next week, I can almost put money on the fact that they're then injured. And I'm thinking, this is why it is such a fine line, because I never, ever want people to be forced. I reach out from a place of curiosity, checking in, professionalism. But I suppose because it is a business, you might take that as, oh, she needs clients also. I'm not sure. It is a tough one, but from experiencing the treatments myself every month, I think I need to have these more. And I can't be the only person that experiences that, right? But it's just people get lost in their busy lives.
I think you feel like you've struck gold and you've hit the jackpot when the client says to you at the end of the session, oh, can I book in with you now for the next date?
Yeah.
And you like do a little dance around the room, don't you? Because you're a bit like, great, that's right. Yeah, we'll book that in right now, kind of thing. But
I love that they really care to take care of themselves, because ultimately that's what we're offering them. It's a place to take care of, nourish the body, help, it's for your mental health as well as it is your physical health. It's giving you a time of utter peace and quiet if that's what you want, or a chat if you want for an hour. It's dependent on them, but it's committing to that hour for yourself. And for equilibrium, I very much stand by, it's not just a one-off treatment, but it is a long-term commitment to your health and well-being. And that won't have come out of nowhere. That's from my previous experience as well. So I guess it's just about sharing that with people if they're open to it. If not, I've had about 5 people coming just for one treatment. They don't want any more because they say they don't have the money. And I'm never going to argue with that. Yes, it is, your health is a priority, and a couple of them had injuries, and I thought, oh, okay, I would like to encourage them, but that's where it has to kind of stay, because it's ultimately up to them. But when it comes to money, it is awkward, and I don't know if that's just London. I don't think it's a geographical thing, but
I think it's everywhere, to be honest.
Tough, yeah.
I mean, I've had a very quiet January and February start to the year, but it's understandable, not only money for everyone's probably skint after Christmas, and prices of everything else is going up, but obviously the weather's not been great over that time of the year, and people, oh, do I want to go out? It's raining, it's cold, even though this is exactly what's going to make you feel better. It's kind of, it's just you can't argue with that. But yeah, I find that my view has always been, when I finish a session with a client, they're all chilled out, relaxed in a bit of space, in like almost in space land, So the last thing I want to be doing is getting a diary out and quizzing them on when they want to book in again. I'd rather leave it for them when they feel comfortable to do so. But then the onus is then on me to have the time and make the time to follow up, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And it is very easy. And I'm sure everyone's listening to this thinking, if they're doing this as a full-time job, or if they're doing it as a part-time job alongside something, that might be classed as more stable, like in an office or something. It's finding that time, like you say, to allocating that time to follow up with clients. And even if you're not suggesting things to them to help them in that follow up, and it's just literally a quick email check-in,
a Merry Christmas, or I mean, I do newsletters as well, so I was really good at them, and then I stopped being good at them, and then I've tried to be a bit more consistent, because I do blog tutorials and I have gift vouchers and things like that, and I always want to remind clients that we're there not just to book in, but if Valentine's Day, for example, coming up, are you stuck for an idea for your partner? Buy a voucher, or all these different things, but also reminding them of the blog entry, or I think I did a January blues post and ways to help improve your mood and boost your mood. And even if it's just that, and that's a reminder of, oh yes, I'll read that and I'll come back to her blog. They don't need to book in with me, but if they're reading it and if that helps them, then I think that's a benefit as well. It's not just the physical booking in, but it is hard, because after treatment I'm all over the place, and the last thing I want to do is really think about the next one. But I suppose what I've noticed where I work, the room, any room that I really hire out, because my diary does get booked up quite quickly, clients actually want to get something in, and or they're going for a coffee or they're going back to work. There's a natural pace, I think. I don't know if you have it as much where you are, but in London it's just go, go, go. So I don't know, that kind of worries me that clients don't fully relax. I think they do, because I hear a lot snoring, and I love that for them in a way. But then I'm like, you're missing the treatment, but that's okay because you're getting your rest, you know. But a lot of clients are very kind of alert to the fact that they then have to go and do that after. So I suppose having that conversation, you know, tone, everything, it's really about reading your client, not just their bodies and where to work, but also reading, are they open to a conversation? Is now the right time, as you say, for the conversation? Perhaps I'll just follow up with my recommendations tomorrow. I think there are just so many different ways to go about it, and it's just circumstance dependent.
I think what could be a good idea for anyone that's thinking, I'm going to not have time to do these follow-ups, blah, 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 is after a client's gone, you know, if you're using Gmail for your email, for instance, you can schedule an email.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So you could do it there and then,
Yeah,
but schedule it for 7 days later or whatever. So you're not pushing them too soon, but it's been a week, you're emailing them, and it could just be a generic email saying, great to see you last week. I hope you're feeling okay after your session. If you've got any questions, please let me know. And if you'd like to book in again, you know, it'd be great to see you again. Here's the link to book in. And just leave it at that, you know, and then you've done your follow up. If they want to reply, they reply. But if you are doing that, obviously, if you've scheduled it, be aware, because I've done this before, that they might email you.
Yes.
Before your scheduled emails
yes,
due
true.
to go
and then
to
you
them.
send an email.
So they could email you the night before,
Yeah.
coincidentally, and be like, can I book in again? That was, you know, awesome. Or they might just go online and book in again.
Yes, exactly.
But you've got a scheduled email then due to go to them. And then that might then be seen as a less thoughtful, because it's almost like it's obvious that you've scheduled it.
Planned it. Yeah. I mean, I kind of, the next morning I usually wake up, when I have my coffee, I do my emails then, just because it's fresh in my mind, it's there before I start work. Obviously it can be up to a couple of days after, but what's really interesting is it was my auntie actually went for a physio appointment recently, and this physio said, you know, I'll send you a follow-up with the exercises I recommend. She never sent it, and my aunt was waiting for it for 2 weeks and it never came. So then there's this, I suppose, balance of making sure that your clients feel remembered and taken care of throughout the whole process. It's not just a once off, it's a, you know, there is a kind of full circle moment there with the follow-up, but then also not feeling like you're badgering them. Do you know what I mean? It's a thin line.
Do you use a booking system?
I do. I use Acuity, actually.
And does that help with any of this? Because I use Fresher, and it's great for what I need. It's I don't know if you've heard of Fresher or not.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. But one thing that's good for, and it's worked quite a lot for me, is that notices when someone's not booked for a while. So you may do your follow up and stuff and not hear from them, but that'll pick up that someone that's been a month before hasn't been, or I don't know what. You can set it so the time frames, and that will send them an email, and it offers them like 10% off or whatever. You can set it 5%, whatever, just to say, oh, we'd love to. And it's basically it's a sales tactic, but it works in the sense that they see that and go, oh, bloody hell, yeah, I meant to book in again. Oh, and if I do it now, I get 5% off or 10% off. And in the grand scheme of things, you know, 10% or whatever, if it's going to get them back again. And then once they've done that a couple of times, they then start coming back regular anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's something that you don't even have to think about. You know, it just does it for you.
Yeah.
I do, again, just like, I don't like doing offers and this, that, and the other. And I've spoke about this in other podcasts and episodes, but I do like what I call a timeout monthly bundle offer as well, where they save £5, I think, if they and it's a subscription.
Yeah. Okay.
So they pay the fixed amount as a subscription every month. It just comes out their account, direct debit, and then it's up to them to go on and book themselves in for that month. If I'm not available and I've blocked out a space because I'll allow them to book an extra one the following month, or whatever. I have control over that, so it's not as cut and dry as, sorry, you missed it this month, you've paid, but you're not having your
Yeah.
session.
Yeah.
But that suits a lot of my clients because they save a little bit, so it's almost like it's a loyalty thing.
Yes. I mean, I've thought about massage memberships. And then I actually had a client who said he had signed up to one and he hated the fact that they kept taking his money and he hadn't booked in. So he wanted to find someone else. And I thought, oh, better not do that then.
Well, I just let them do it if they want to go on. When they go to
Right.
book, it says, oh, you can get this session for £5 cheaper if you want to do it as a monthly thing. And then they're thinking, oh, well, I come every month anyway, so I may as well.
And that's using Fresher, is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. That's
I
interesting.
don't push it to them, but I have some that come regular, and I've said to them, oh, obviously it's doing myself out of £5 really, but I say, oh, you come every month. Pretty
Yeah.
much. I was like, you could save £5 each month if you want to sign up to the subscription instead. And if anything, it gives you that little reminder to book
Yeah.
yourself in because you're committed to it
Incentive,
then.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
So that's an option as well.
Yeah, that's
Um,
really helpful.
but I noticed when I was looking at your Instagram, was obviously you put a lot of good content on there. I was looking, I was doing the I can't remember which one it was, but while I was waiting for this to start, I was watching one of your videos and
Oh yeah.
I was doing one of your stretches.
Did you find it
Um,
good?
I was sitting up tall and I was turning my head to the side like
Oh
that.
yeah.
And then you said if you want to, and then you feel the pull down here, and then I was like stretching my head a bit more. Anyway, just proving that I was actually watching it. But that made me realize when I was watching and doing that, oh God, I'm tense. I
Yes.
need to book in. You
Yeah.
know, and I think
Exactly.
things like that make people, when they're sat at night scrolling through their phone after a busy day and they see these videos of someone showing where we carry aches and pains and how like we can stretch and help it, and then they're doing it and thinking, God, I'm going to book myself in.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've had a lot of my clients obviously work in corporate roles, so they are sitting at a desk or they're working from home, and their desk setup is as bad as mine is, with not a supportive chair. I've got my laptop up on a shoebox. It's not ideal, but we work with it. But I'm not doing this for 8 hours a day, and so that's what I started doing during lockdown, was really trying to educate and give people relief through the screen, because hands-on I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't allowed to. So, but I'm getting a lot of a lot of the same complaints from different clients about the neck, the shoulders, the hips, the lower back. So I love to throw things out there because I love learning new techniques. I love doing the stretches myself, but I also know it, for like 90% of my clients, is going to help them as well. And I suppose, I mean, I've been uploading quite a lot of content recently, but that's because I've had the time to. I mean, if you look like towards the end of last year, I wasn't really uploading much at all, but I had the time to. But I suppose my priorities maybe were a little bit different. But I remember, since starting to do it again now, how much I love doing it, and I get such a buzz out of it, and I love creating things. I do a lot of goofy videos, as you've probably seen as well, because I like a balance. I don't want to be too serious. We all like to have a nap on our massage bed between clients. So so yeah, I mean, I love it. But there is just so much, I suppose, that I want to help people with. If that's just through an Instagram post, then so be it. But yeah, it's a great reminder also when you are doing it, or if you see something about, oh, are you training for the London Marathon? Have you got a massage therapist? No. Okay, maybe we should look into that. There are little pieces everywhere that you can lead to people, I suppose, to get them some support.
And the thing that makes me want to book in for a massage more than anything is when I scroll in through Instagram and I see like a therapist that I know, and it's a short video on their page, a reel or whatever,
Yeah.
of someone having a massage, and they're showing you a technique, and
Yeah.
it's just someone lay on the front, and they're just working out the knots in the back, and I'm just watching it thinking, oh my God,
Mm,
I need to book in somewhere right now. You
yeah.
know what? That's me as
Sure.
and that's probably everyone watching the same thing and thinking, I need to get myself booked in there.
Yeah.
all these little visual things that teaser promo videos and stuff.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
takes time to get them together and to do them, but I guess if you've got a quiet day and you're trying to get more clients to rebook and you think, utilize that time,
Yeah.
get a load of content together, if get your friend involved or a partner or whoever it might be, and say, listen, can I give you a massage? And I need to set the camera up and film certain bits. Just film a load of stuff all in one go, and then you can just chop it down into little 10-second bits. And you could put
Yeah.
up a little bit about the legs or the back or the neck, or the head, and then put them out at different times, and people will see that.
Yeah.
Your clients that follow you, that are your regulars, will see
Yeah.
that and be like, I've not booked in this month. That looks
Yeah.
incredible. I need to get back on that right now.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
will literally there and then most likely go onto your page and book.
Yeah. Do you know what? I see these all the time, and I think I haven't done that yet, but I also don't want to. I don't know if I think people do use their friends, but in my busy moments, I think, God, this would be so good to film because I've got the light, in the space that I hire out. But I don't want to ask clients if I can film because it kind of ruins the experience for them. So I need to get someone else in, and I need to get a good camera, and I need to get a ring light, and I need to do that for an hour. And yeah.
I think using a friend or partner or whatever, or a family member or whatever is best in that way. Unless it's a very good regular client that you've been treating for years that you know really well, and you could just say, listen, I'll keep, your face won't be in it. You'll be covered under the towel, blah, blah, blah. I'll do you a little discount. Any chance I could film a bit of the session because, and I'm sure most of them will be like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But you'll know,
Yeah,
you'll know you're not going to say that to a first time client that's just come through your door, are you?
Get your camera out. What?
That's a great way of getting them to rebook, isn't it? We should do a follow-up episode of this of what not to do to get clients to rebook because I've probably got loads of stories for that as well. But listen, I think we've bombarded everyone listening with so many handy tips there, and I'm pretty sure everyone's listening thinking, God, I can relate to that. And there's so much we can be doing.
Absolutely.
And on a positive note, so much that everyone's probably listening to this that are already doing as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not to get disheartened if people aren't coming back.
Yeah.
Because chances are it's nothing to do with you or what you've done. They've just simply not got the time or the money at that moment in time, and it's not one to get down on.
Exactly. It's easy to take it personally, I suppose, when it is your business and, if it's your livelihood and everything, it can be a bit jarring if you're not used to it. But as you say, it's completely natural and it's very normal. And I think all the different ways and recommendations we've given, a lot of people think, oh, that might not work for me, but that might work for me. And it's just about being open. There's no formula, because when you're working with human beings, you can't have a formula because they're humans. We're all very different. We all need different things. And I think, it's about adapting to that.
I think to summarize, anyone listening, my key takes from this would be a simple little follow-up the following morning whilst having your coffee.
Yeah.
While it's fresh in your mind, just to let them know that you're thinking about them and that you hope they had a nice session and you're there if they'd like to book in again.
Yeah. And maybe a little personal detail if they told you, I don't know, what they were doing at the weekend or they're going to away on holiday, have a wonderful holiday. Just something like that. If to you is a nice little touch, it makes it more personal.
And it's fresh in your mind if you do it the next morning and you've done your bit then, haven't you? And then hopefully they do follow you on socials and they can see these little bits and bobs you then put up over the following weeks and hopefully when you add all that together, they'll be back through the door.
Back through the door. Exactly.
Right. Well, Georgia, it's been lovely to speak to you today. And lovely to meet you. And I will be following your Insta and seeing. I look forward to some of these videos that are going to start coming up.
Yeah, God, I'm under pressure now. I need to do some more.
Yeah, that's it. I've put you under pressure, so I might. It's like a massage life coach. I'm going to be like waiting, and then you'll just see an emoji of a thumbs up when you from me when.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Well, it's been lovely to meet you because I've not met you before. And thanks to everyone for listening. As always, like, subscribe and share. And let us know if you've got any questions in the comments on either YouTube or on the Facebook pages. We'll get, if there are any questions for Georgia, we'll get them over to her. And if anyone's got any exciting guests or would like to be a guest on the podcast, please do get in touch, because there's a lot of us and we've all got lots of unique stories and things to talk about. So it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you on the next one.
The Massage and Physical Therapist Talk Show. We discuss the talking points that matter to you, the therapist. A lot of work goes into creating the talk shows, and we'd be very grateful if you can choose Massage Warehouse when shopping for massage supplies, so we can continue to create these amazing podcasts. Massage Warehouse is your one-stop shop for massage supplies and does great work supporting our wonderful community. Until next time,